Hey, what's up? Silas here. So in this video, I'm going to open up with showing you three different sizes of avocados, and I want you guys to think how much would you pay for these avocados, for each one of these. So there's three different sizes. And then I'm going to show you guys a video of me making some banana bread with some audio of something I recorded some time back, and then I'll come back at the end of the video and add some more thoughts to kind of tie all this together. So right now, showing you the largest avocado, and now getting into the actual video.
Hey, what's up? Silas here. This is going to be something about how royalty thinks you're peasants. And by definition, you are peasants. And we are peasants. I'm a peasant. You're a peasant. If I become a situation where I'm a lot above you guys financially and socially and things like that, then technically compared to me, you would be peasants. But the thing is, it's not polite to say that. Yet, American royalty, they come out and just let you know. That's a big difference with the royals in America and the royals that existed in the past, I think, or at least some royals in the old world. Check this out. There's this one article of Russia apparently said that Queen Elizabeth drinks cocktails every day, and Theresa May also has a brandy habit. And we got to understand, like, it's okay. These people are different. This is the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom of Britain. This is the Queen. She technically is royalty. When it comes to just the definition of the words, not like saying you as a peasant are a bad person inherently, but just your social strata. Compared to a queen, most people are peasants. Most people are below them. Most people are the subjects and things like that. But it's also not polite to let that be known. So I get that. So me and my friend were kind of joking around. I was like, it's just funny because this is really funny to me. Just imagining them sitting around. I can imagine like Theresa May. Is it Teresa or Theresa May? And Queen Elizabeth sitting around like she's drinking her cocktail. Theresa May is having some brandy. Maybe the Queen is having like a really nice what's it called? What are those things? Those gin and tonics. You know the ones like gin and ginger beer and served in a little like brass thing. Forgetting the name of it. I haven't drank in so long. I used to drink them a lot. What are they called? I might put it up on like the screen right now because I might look it up after this video. Anyway. So they're drinking those, and they're talking about how the peasants are so annoying and things like that. That I can imagine after, when Theresa May leaves, she goes back and talks to Prince Philip or the Archduke Philip, the Queen's husband, who's not necessarily the king. I don't think he's called the king. But anyway, she goes back to her, and then talks about how Theresa May is also a peasant. But she's like, yeah, she might be a peasant, but who else can I talk to about these things? But anyway, the difference is, coming back to this, why I'm saying the wealthy people, the royalty in the United States of America are different, is because, yes, they are like us. They are human beings. Just like some people have drinking issues, you drink and you go out and you talk about things, just like the Queen and just like Theresa May has. Just like American people, they watch sports, they go to events, they have homes, they have things they care for. The American celebrity class, the political class in the United States of America, who are the royalty, they don't really care as much. At least they don't care as much as the old royals, at least as a royal like Queen Elizabeth, to keep that thing down. You can't go around calling people peasants. But check this out. You had Bill Maher, who has a show. He's a comedian, has a night show, I think a television show where he comes and talks about different issues. He had a bet with somebody came on his show and he was just like, yeah, I bet you $1,000 there's going to be a connection between Donald J. Trump with the Russia situation. And no, there's going to be a connection with Donald J. Trump and actual Russian collusion. He says, I guarantee you, $1,000, I bet you this. Then I was watching something with Skip Bayless, and Shannon Sharp on Undisputed. And Skip Bayless was talking about how he had bet with Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s father $1,000 about the fight that Floyd Mayweather Jr. had with Conor McGregor, and he had to pay Skip Bayless had to pay Floyd Mayweather Jr. that, and he's kind of just joking around how he wants that back. And then Shannon Sharp was talking about how he doesn't want the fight to occur, the fight in the octagon in mixed martial arts, of a rematch of Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather Jr., because Conor McGregor would destroy him. And so Shannon is like, Skip, stop trying to get this to happen. Stop trying to get this to happen. I'll just give you the $1,000 back. I'll just give it to you back. If that's good to get you to stop doing it. So first, Skip Bayless was able to just make $1,000 bet. Second, Shannon Sharp, even in jest, was just like, I could just pay you this back. I don't think it's even in jest, because if Skip says yes, I think he can actually take it. And I know like they normally bet on like cases of Diet Mountain Dew, which is kind of a cool thing. I don't know if it's because of like actual what's it called, advertising. Maybe they're signed with them, but anything. Anyway, so that normally happens, but I was thinking about those two things. Then adding the third thing. Thanks for actually still maintaining with this video. A little digression. We're going here, we're going there. Now we're coming. Now we're landing home. I was thinking of Nancy Pelosi, what she was saying after Donald J. Trump had that whole tax break thing or the tax changes thing. And then some companies were like, hey, here's $1,000. Here's $1,000 bonus. And people were like, yeah, this is awesome. A lot of people in the United States of America were like, this is awesome. Nancy Pelosi was like, that's breadcrumbs. That's chump change. That's nothing, because to her level of her royalty, that's for peasants. She can't really understand. She's like, you peasants, you guys are happy with $1,000? Just how Bill Maher is just like, yeah, I'll bet. I'll just throw this bet for this. People go out and they bet. Normally, like I just had somebody I know here who works very hard. And this is a situation where it's tough for me kind of moving around different countries, living in the United States of America, seeing something, or just being in my life and going out and buying like some cheese here for 500 shillings. And then I'm talking to somebody who's worked an entire day, like driving a car, doing things in landscaping, doing other things like that. And then they're being paid 500 for that entire day of work. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just getting some like halloumi cheese. Halloumi cheese is amazing though. You can grill that, you can fry it, you can do all kinds of stuff. It doesn't like melt into. So halloumi cheese, if you haven't had it, get it. But yeah, you see that kind of situation where that makes me question like, wow, this is 500 shillings I'm spending on this. This is a day's work for somebody. And it puts some things into perspective, because I also know people who will look at that 500 shillings that I'm spending on that, which is equivalent to about $5, and they have $15 minimum wage, and if they're doing that, and to them, they look at me and they're like, yeah, that's chump change. You just throw that away. And then Nancy Pelosi's at that level where $1,000 to her is nothing. They can just bet on $1,000 here. So this guy I was talking to, he bet 50 shillings or something, like 50 shillings, and then he actually won like 500,000 shillings, which is about $500, and he got a phone. That's how he does it. Now you get in that phone with other things. But anyway, coming back to the thing, these royals have that kind of money to just throw around, just throwing bets, just like we're just betting like this, betting left and right. And most Americans don't even have enough savings, don't even have like $1,000 of savings in their bank. If they had an emergency, they won't have any money to actually go out and pay for that. If there's a car crash, if somebody breaks their bones, they have to go to credit. They have to go to things like this. They don't have this kind of savings. So there's this massive disconnect. And I think a difference is the royals in the United States of America are willing to show you their level. They're like, we are on this level, you guys are peasants in this level, and there's a big disconnect there. Whereas I think the older royals, people like Queen Elizabeth, maybe it was different with this in general, but I think Queen Elizabeth, she's a very mature, learned, studied royal, and she understands you can't just go around calling people peasants or just showing off too much this bling bling lifestyle and just that kind of shining too much. Let me know what you guys think about that. Are there any other things that you thought? Was this video too all over the place from you? Should I have just opened up with with the main thing at the start? But anyway, that's kind of how I make some of the videos. Hope you liked it. Like, share, and subscribe. Links below to the merchandise store. Patreon if you want to help me out. Shall be opening a PayPal later today. And let me know what you guys think about these things. What are the other things that you think where, wow, these people are trying to tell us how to live our lives, or tell us like, yeah, this person is racist, or you're bad because you did this, or you've been empowered because of this, you should do this and this. How much do those people actually understand your life or live a life that's similar to you? Are they too separate to actually have something to do, something sensible or salient to your day-to-day life? Goodbye. So that's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. That drink I was talking about earlier are actually mules. They have them in those copper glasses. I know they have like gin mules, they have whiskey mules, they have all kinds of mules. If you're a drinker, I suggest trying mules. Something I liked. But yeah, so anyway, back to the video, to the whole concept of the video, the whole peasantry and celebrities and royalty and things like that, the different different strata in society. So what I'm talking about here is class.
I remember when I was younger, I used to think like it doesn't matter about your race, your culture, and things like that. The thing that matters is how much green you have in your pocket. That's the only color that matters. And to an extent, it does. But do classes in the sense of, okay, well, here's one definition of class. Like Western societies have traditionally been divided into three classes: the upper or leisure class, the middle class, the bourgeoisie, the lower or working class. For Marxists, the significant classes are the bourgeoisie and the proletariat. So see also the proletariat. So that whole situation where they're talking about that kind of class, I think that's a classic or classic. That's a general way people look at the classes in society. But I'm looking at the actual definition of class, and here we go. A set category of things having some property or attribute in common and differentiated from others by kind, type, or quality. 2. As for the noun, a system of ordering society whereby people are divided into sets based on perceived social or economic status. Now for verb, assign or regard as belonging to a particular category. And adjective, showing stylish excellence. Now, with those ones, that's what I'm kind of talking about here. Do people in the upper classes, the quote-unquote elite, do they show stylish excellence? Are they in a particular category? What are you categorizing them as elite as? What do they categorize other things as? How does someone get to a point where they categorize $1,000 as crumbs? What kind of person is that? Is that a good person? Is that somebody who's elite? Is that somebody you'd want to be like? Is that somebody you look up to? I know here in Kenya, they have a situation where the ministers of parliament and senators and things like that, you have to call them honorable. When you call them in public, if you're doing like a news story, so it's like the Honorable XYZ, you say the person's name. And it's just by you being voted on in however you got in, you're supposed to just automatically be called honorable. Not from your actual behavior or things like that, just from having that kind of level. And I think we still have that in the West, where these people are just there and we just think, oh, they're honorable. We should believe what they say. What they say has some more worth than what we say, what my friends say, what the regular people do. And I don't necessarily think it applies because we're not necessarily living in a meritocracy where your value to other people is very correlated to how much money and how much wealth you actually amass. It's people achieve power in ways that are not necessarily tied into the quality of their person in a moral sense, in an ethical sense. So those avocados from the start of the video are back on the screen now, and I want you guys to remember that question. How much would you pay for these avocados? Just get something in mind. Remember those three different sizes of them. Now I'm going to tell you how much I paid for them. Well, I technically didn't pay for them. I found these in the compound that I was living in. But if I had gone to like a local kiosk to buy these, that smallest one would have been maybe 20 shillings, the larger one 30 shillings, and the largest one maybe 50 shillings at most, if that. And that is about 20 cents in dollars, 30 cents in dollars, and 50 cents in dollars. So that smallest one, I've seen it going for $4 in the United States of America. Now, I just can't. There's some things I just can't. My mind can't get around to just being okay with that. Now, it also comes down to like percentages of somebody's salary. Now, if you'd been living in Kenya and you have a certain job where you're doing a lot of manual labor, you're outside in the sun, heavy back-breaking stuff, and then you get paid 500 shillings for that day, and then you come back and then you find this large avocado going for 50 shillings. Now, the percentage of your actual pay of that day, it may be a lot higher a percentage of your pay than somebody in the United States of America who's working $20 an hour, and then they only have to spend $4. You see, at that point, they only have to spend $4. They might even have to spend $5. They might be spending your entire day's salary on an avocado that is much smaller than yours for 50 shillings. Yet for you, that large one for 50 shillings is a lot more expensive because of what percentage of your actual income that thing is. So this is one thing I've kind of struggled with. I've had to kind of get my mind around is understanding the the proportion of things or how things stand to different people. When somebody's out there betting about $1,000, I'm just like, that is a lot of money. To me, that's a plane ticket. There's so many other things I would do before I get there. I just recently talked about this poster, this not this print by Banksy that went for $1.4 million, and then after it actually was sold on auction, it went through a a shredder that was built into the frame, and then some people were freaking out like, oh my god, I can't believe Banksy did this. And then I'm thinking like, if you thought it was worth spending $1.4 million on, first of all, you bought everything, including the shredder that you didn't know was there. Second of all, after it's been shredded, it's still part of the art piece, so you're probably even going to expect it to be higher. You could probably just put that back in Sotheby's and get like your 1.4 million back, and probably at least a point 0.4 million. You could probably get it up to 2 million now after the notoriety of that having happened. So I think that's one thing people need to understand when they're looking at things, when they look at poverty levels, when they look at their lives, when they look at other people talking about things that affect their lives. How are these people looking at it? What class are they looking at this from? In the class sense, let's get back to the class definition where people are actually educated and aware, like classes. You go into actual classes. What kind of category are people assigning certain things in your life to? When they're talking about certain issues, certain levels of earning, certain expectations, what class are they setting those things into? Are those compared to you? A group of students or pupils who are taught together. That is another thing. How many people are taught together? How many people learn this information together to understand that, yes, we all agree that this is a horrible thing that's happening. We all agree that this is a positive thing that's happening. We all agree this is what makes us happy. We all agree that this is what makes us sad. I don't think people understand that that is actually a thing that does not really exist as much as some people think it is. Like, you'll talk to these people, you look at these quote unquote elites, you look at the plight of other people in other countries or other places, and think the elites understand what's going on with you, or think you actually have the ability to understand what's going on in those people in those so-called unfortunate places in the world, when you might have as much of a different class as those people that you think you're looking out for as the quote unquote elites do from your actual day-to-day life. So that's it for this video, and like, share, and subscribe. Links below in the low bar to merchandise store. And so one more story on the prices of things. These are the ingredients for that banana bread I made. I added the coconut powder and some vanilla and cinnamon because there's a few things you can add in baking without ruining the actual recipes. But baking is one of the few things where you really need to follow the recipe exactly. Like when it comes to like the leavening stuff, like the yeast or the baking soda or baking powder, you really need to actually stick to those things, or the amount of eggs or milk, the moisturizer, to get the actual consistency that you want. But I also add macadamia nuts in this example you can also see here. But anyway, so the cost of these things, how much does this cost? There was a talk I was having with my mom about getting the bananas, because the bananas, you can get them for 10 shillings a piece, or even less. But if they're actually it's very easy to get bananas here. Usually, there was actually a short banana shortage for a while, where there's no actually ripe bananas on the market, and that was really odd. It's about like a week or something like that going. People were freaking out. Losing their mind. No, I'm kidding. They were really losing their minds. But you find bananas pretty much everywhere, and they go really cheap. But since they also there's a high amount of them, people kind of throw them away the second they start getting all browned up, because this happens a lot. That whole blackening thing, it happens really quick with bananas. You can think with the actual heat that you normally have here in Nairobi, Kenya, it happens rather quick. So they end up throwing away these bananas, and now you can get these bananas from them for like much cheaper, 5 shillings or even less, for just a bunch of them together. But then people wonder, okay, why can't they actually just, in passing, my mom was like, okay, why can't they make banana bread out of it and then sell? Because once they are overripe in that way, they're excellent for banana bread. They get the sugars coming out of it and things like that. But to make banana bread, you need all these other ingredients as well. Now, they're not necessarily that expensive here in Kenya, but just getting all of them together. Next, you need an oven, you need baking dishes, you need the time to do all these things. So a lot more goes into the actual cost of that banana bread. So I was kind of thinking of this video, kind of calling it like "Let Them Eat Banana Bread." It's like, oh, if you can't afford bread, why don't you just eat banana bread or something like that? How the wealthy people look down on that. Because I was like, okay, look, even for me, I do understand it is some sort of level of having some kind of privilege and time to actually go in and know the recipe for this, have the time to follow this thing, have the ability to get all those different ingredients together at once at the right proportions, to have access to an oven, to a baking dish, etc., and all these things. So there's so many different things that go into what things cost and when you can do things and when you can't do things. And I don't know, there's a lot out there I think people could benefit from actually looking and seeing what's actually behind this. And again, I'm currently listening to Man, Economy, and State by Murray Rothbard. And if anybody has a passing interest with economics, I think even if you don't have a passing interest in economics, I highly suggest you get this book. There's going to be a link below to the Mises Institute where you can actually get a copy of it. And I think economics itself kind of is one of those background things that runs pretty much everything that we do in humanity. If you have a good understanding of economics, it's going to help you in many ways. So please check it out. That's it for the video.